want to watch this. All right. So on the scatter chart, you kept what? Profit and sales, for example, right?
Yes, sir.
And the customer name, correct?
Right, sir.
It should actually be the other way around. So sales.
Sir, I put the subcategory there.
In the details?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me do the same thing then. Like this?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me.
So now from the analytics part,
Okay.
y-axis constant line.
Okay.
So add
What do I
0.
have?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I haven't tried it. Let me see. Wait. Let me try first a different number. So let me try maybe 100,000. So 100,000 is coming. Okay. 1 lakh is coming.
Yes, sir.
Why 0 is not coming? I'm not really sure. Maybe just put like a 10 or something. There must be some reason why 0 is
Yes,
not
sir.
coming. Just try putting 1. It will come.
So even if I'm putting there 0.0001, then it's coming, sir.
So it must be some bug with the software, most likely. Power BI is a very new software, right? So there are these small bugs in the background. Very good observation. Like I did not know this, but yeah, this is how you would do it. Great. I think you have already figured out the correct solution. I don't think you're doing anything incorrect. I also tried 0, it is not working. So that clearly means that there is some issue with this.
Thank you, sir.
Right, great. Any other questions, anyone? First, tell me, we have a 9 to 11 session. When is your next session after this?
Sir, we don't have it now.
You don't have any more sessions after this 9 to 11?
Yeah, actually, we have asked the teachers for the, actually they wanted extra class, but according to the schedule, we don't have any class now.
Got it. So that means we can, if we want to extend 10-15 minutes, we can, right? That's what I was asking.
Yes, yes, definitely we can.
Right. So I would like to share something wonderful with all of you before we start.
Yes,
just watch this.
When I was trying the BBA course you have said, and I mean, I was enjoying actually because there were many questions like flipping the rows or columns.
Right.
So I was just using the logic of, for example, prefix and changing it so that I can use it for suffix. So it was quite. I was actually.
It's a lot of fun, no? When you start to make modifications in the code, you feel that you've actually created something.
Yes, sir. So, even the changing the color of the cells, I mean, they were given for changing the color of the cells as red.
Right.
Then I saw that there was a code, RGB code for red. So I changed it to, I searched on Google, I changed it to yellow, and I was able to do that. So it was
wonderful.
Quite
wonderful. And let me share with you and everybody else, your journey with Visual Basic will exactly be like this. A lot of times we feel we are doing such small things, searching online for one line of code. Trust me, this is exactly how programming works. No matter how senior a developer you are, at the end of the day, we always say that a senior developer is somebody who searches on Google more and searches on Google better. That is what defines a good developer. A good developer is not somebody who remembers everything and does everything himself or herself. Right? Wonderful. Very happy to hear that. So everyone, want to share some very good news with you. I have an Excel file, and in insert, I have add-ins, right? Which are applications. And then on the store, there are about 500 add-ins available. Some have been created by Microsoft. Then there is an add-in by SAP also, right? There is an add-in by Jira also. So some of these are large companies, correct? For example, I have Salesforce. I have a Salesforce as well. These are all official add-ins. Other than this, there are many add-ins created by individual developers. For example, Stock Connector has been made by some small company or developer. There are 750 million people around the world who use Excel. That's 75 crore people. And there are 500 add-ins on the store. That's it, which is a tiny number, right? Less than 500. Not like Android and iOS where there are lakhs of apps. There are only 500 add-ins because it takes a lot of effort to make these add-ins. And here's the good news. A couple of days back, our add-in has got published on the store. So you can just search for my name. It's called Swap Case, which changes the case from upper to lowercase and vice versa. You add it, right? It will even work on Excel online. And if all of you can see this button in the top right corner called Swap Case, how does it work? When I write Havish and I write, let's say, Srcc, Usually, how will you change the case to upper in lowercase? You will write equal to upper, right? All of us have been taught this. Then you have to copy this, you have to paste it, then you have to remove the formula. But now what you can do without writing any formulas, I can just open swap case and we can click on uppercase and lowercase in a single click. Right? I mean, it's a very simple add-in. That's what it does. It doesn't do 5 things. It just does one thing, which means that without needing to write formulas, you can convert the text into upper or lowercase. And no matter what is the amount of text that you have, like let's say you have a very large column with you, something like this. You should think of how practical it is. If I ask you, can you make all these names uppercase? What will you do? You will first create a new column. Then you will write equal to upper, correct? Then you will have to copy this formula down. Then you will have to copy the results. Then you will have to paste the results. Then you will have to delete this column. You know, for such a simple task, which is to convert the column into uppercase, you have to go through so many steps. What can I do now if I just cancel all of this? Now you can just select the data, open swap case, one click, it becomes uppercase, right? So this is a problem that I identified, which everybody has, right? Every Excel user at some point wants to change the case, and it's so difficult to write a formula and do that. Yeah. Any questions, anyone on this?
I saw that on LinkedIn, sir.
Yeah, so this is something that I've been working on for about 2 months. And obviously, we had a lot of challenges while doing this to figure everything out. So just to share with you who is working with me on this, there is a boy called Srcc, who's a computer science engineer. I mean, he's still a student at Nashik. He's still in his second year. He'll be going into his fourth semester right now, I think, right? So he'll be passing out in 2023. And I take very little credit for this. He has done 90% of the coding. I have only managed the project, right? I've been the project manager. He has the one who has actually done all the coding and figuring everything out at the back end. So these are the sort of live projects that students do with me. You know, so, and not just me, I'm sure there are many companies who will offer you live projects. The only thing I'm trying to tell you guys is that do not give up. You know, a lot of time you feel we will work very hard if I get an opportunity. But the moment things become tough or somebody shouts at you or you feel that somebody is not giving you time, you have excuses and you give up. Don't do that. He has been with me for 2 months. Can you imagine how solid his portfolio is? He has created a product which is coming. I mean, he said nobody in the college's history has ever created a product, right? Because this is so unusual, right? Because there are so many factors involved in launching a product in the market. So all I'm trying to tell you is that when you guys, whatever projects that you do, always make sure to, there will always be bad days, right? There will be days where you're confused, you don't know what to do. There were so many days where we thought that this is never going to succeed. But we kept at it, we kept on working, and I can't tell you the number of times we have stayed up till 4 a.m. at night. 4 hours we have been on Zoom call trying to write the code, figure it out, do testing. 100 times we have had to test the code. Every time there would be some or the other small issue that will appear. And you know, since I've started talking about this, I just want to show you a small thing that for a simple process like this, I want to show you the amount of work that has happened behind the scene, right? You might feel, Havish, it's so simple. It's just upper and lower case. But if you notice, 1 second. Do you see this?
Yes,
How many
sir.
lines of codes are
Yes,
there?
sir.
There are 200 lines of code that is doing that uppercase and lowercase, right? And this we have built from scratch because no other company in the world has this option right now, right? They have similar options, but they don't have what we have. Otherwise, why would our app get published, right? So the reason I'm showing this to you is to motivate you, because 1 year back, I did not work on Visual Studio. 1 year back, I did not know JavaScript, what you see right now. I had no clue of what JavaScript is. I was always a VBA developer with Python and R. I had no idea of how JavaScript works. And today I can walk you through the entire code. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you're interested in learning any advanced tool, whether it's Power BI formulas, which we'll do today, or Excel, advanced Excel modeling, no excuses, right? That I did not get that opportunity. I don't come from that background. If you want to learn something, you always have, you know, sources available. Other than this workshop, right? There will always be other things that you will do on YouTube and online courses and stuff like that. So just make sure to give yourself a target and tell yourself that you have to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, people are not interested in why you were not able to do it. When you do it, everybody praises you. When you don't do it, nobody's interested in asking you why why you went up till 70% and then you left it. Right? So just some little bit of motivation, because I've been through this journey of wanting to create it for 3 years, but I kept on preparing and training myself for 3 years to come to this point where we managed to start and complete the project in under 2 months. Right? Great. Any observations, any questions on this, anyone, before we start with Parvi? Anything on your mind?
Sir, this code could also be modified to all the cases that you recently talked about, the snake case and all that.
Okay, so you want to see what is my inspiration, what inspires me? There is a company called ABCLK. I'll answer your question this way. ABCLK. It's based out of Bulgaria, right? ABCLK text toolkit. Please watch this. Look at their add-in. I have done one thing, right, which is upper and lower case. Look at what they have done. They have add text, prefix, suffix, extract, convert, change case, which I have, trim, count. Do you see the number of options that they have created? This is what inspires me. At some point, this is what I want to. This is a very old company. I think for 20 years, they have been creating add-ins on Excel. In fact, the entire company only does add-ins. That's it. They don't do anything else. So these are like probably the best or one of the best top 5, top 10 firms in the world who do this. But this is what I look at, and I challenge myself to come to a point where I'll be able to do something like this. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I would like to add more features going forward. That's the plan. And this took us a lot of time, but we are in the process of creating more things. Like one other thing that we are creating is this one. This is the last thing I want to show you. This is still under development. We are creating a timer like this. Okay. We have created a timer, which means that if I click on the play button, the timer starts to play. I can pause it, resume it, and I can also reset it like this. Right? So, I mean, the question is, why exactly am I doing it when we have a clock on a desktop? The reason is because a lot of time in the corporate, when you're working, you want to time yourself. I'm sure there's even a student, when you're working on a project, you want to understand, right, that if you are cleaning a sheet or if you're creating a pivot table, how much time it took you so that you can manage all your work. That's why I came up with this idea that maybe a timer is a very good thing that we can have in our Excel. And the best part is you don't need to have a separate application. See, even in Microsoft, I have alarms and clock. And in alarm clock, I do have a stop. It's not a timer, it's a stopwatch. I do have a stopwatch here. But then I have to press Alt Tab. I can't view Excel and the stopwatch at the same time. So our idea was, why not have the stopwatch inside Excel? Like here, it is running inside Excel right now. So it's inside that sheet. As long as you work on that sheet, it will tell you basically how much time you have spent on it.
Also, sir, while presenting an Excel sheet like a PPT, it will definitely be like a visual skill altogether.
Absolutely, absolutely. So somebody might say, but so how did you? Who asked you for it? Like who suggests? Nobody suggested. Nobody asks for it. Most of the products that we create in the market, nobody asks for it. We always say the customer knows best. No, the customer doesn't know. If you look at Amazon created one click, add to cart and booking it. These were revolutions in the market. No company was doing it. Walmart was also not doing it when Amazon started it. And that's the point, right? When you do something so nicely and people start to get used to it, then people start thinking, how did I ever live without it? Now that I have shown you the timer, you tell me. When I show you the timer and now I tell you, no, I will not give it to you. You don't have it. Will you not feel like I also want it, right? Because it might help me not every day, but maybe sometimes, like the uppercase, lowercase. It's not a very big thing. But after seeing that there is a better way to change the case, why would you want to go back and do it manually? So that's how, as a product developer, we have to come up with solutions, and then we also have to basically, you know, tell people how to use it and how it helps them. Right? That's also an important part of our job. It's not that somebody came to me and said, Havish, we'll give you money, can you create a timer for us? Nobody asked me. In fact, if I ask people, they will say, why do we need it? But when they see it, they'll probably realize that there is a need for it. Right? Great, good. So let's see how many people have come. We have 46.
Sir,
Kevin?
I have a request, sir.
Kevin?
Sir, I was participating in some data analytics and data visualization competitions, uh, but I was facing some problem in the data cleaning and finding the relationship between all those datas and the columns and uh, means all the data that is available with the Excel file that they have given me.
Okay.
Um, s- I saw the notebooks of other participants who had also participated in that competition.
Okay.
Um, and I think they were using Python for that.
Okay.
So sir, I wanted to ask that in all those competitions or real life problem cases, is it the statistical tool that we have to work on, or is it the analytics tool that we have to work on? Means is Python very necessary? Can we do it with the Power BI uh, alone, or we
Okay.
have to learn? Means I know Python is important, but if those competitions or those problems can be handled with Power BI alone.
I'll answer your question this way, right? And I'll also open the last week's file so that we can also recap what we did and we can continue from there, right? So last week we had done a very simple Power BI dashboard. Today we'll be working on a model where we learn how to create relationships and how to do data cleaning, right? So the question that has been asked is that how does Python fit into things? See, we'll be covering, we finish Power BI today, and next, when we meet of 1 week from now, we'll also be looking at basic R and Python inside Power BI. If you notice, R and Python is available inside Power BI as well. So your question being, can we do it on Power BI or do we need Python? That question actually is not correct. Do you see why? Because Python and Power BI is not a choice that should I do this or should I do that? Because it's integrated within Power BI. As you can see, I can write my Python code inside Power BI. You see what I'm saying, right? So the idea
Yes,
is
sir.
not whether can Power BI do it or not. Yes, the question should be, sir, can I use only Power BI without Python to do what Python can, right?
Yes,
Does that
sir.
make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the answer to that is quite a lot, but not everything. Because Python is a programming language, which means that you can do many more things with it. For example, web scraping. For example, sentiment analysis. Now, Power BI is also adding AI features slowly, a little by little, but then it will never compete with Python because Python is a programming language and it will always have a connectivity with Python. So the answer, which is, should I learn Python or not? I always say learn it a little bit so that at least you have a little bit of knowledge. And maybe in the future, maybe after 1 year or 2 years, if you feel that your job requires you to learn more of it, at least you don't have to start from zero. That's what I say, right? That's something I strongly believe in. Learn it a little bit, and I'll tell you exactly how to learn. I'm not going to give you 5-hour videos and 10-hour videos. I'm not going to give you books to read. I'm going to tell you exactly the websites, the examples that you should follow to learn it.
Okay,
Even
sir.
though we are going to cover this later, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Just one example I want to give you. Please watch this. Have you heard of this website called Geeks for Geeks?
Yes, sir.
I'm
I have
sure,
been
Yes.
I've
right?
been researching a lot about for Python. I have seen DeFi. I have seen Kaggle. I
Right,
have seen Geeks
right.
for Geeks. A
Absolutely.
lot of such websites.
Right. Now, Kaggle is fantastic, but Kaggle can also be quite intimidating because some people there do some very advanced stuff, right? And
Okay.
we sometimes feel, but I'm not really sure how it is working. The best way to start with Python, one of the best ways, there are many ways which I'll cover in the third week. One of the nice ways is to say, please watch this. I will just say on Python, if I want to do something, let's take a business sentence. For instance, for example, Python video. And do you see this? Python play a video using OpenCV. Create a GUI for downloading YouTube video using Python. Why don't we open this? So I click on it. And very nicely, they have it's not a very long article, right? They have explained exactly what is the prerequisite. That means what do you need to install? Then the modules required, you also need PyTube for that. Then they have also explained how to install it, pip install. And they have given you the entire code like this. So the only thing you need to do is you need to copy the entire code, and that's it. This is the article. Now you tell me, what more do you need? But if you say, but sir, I don't even know what to do with pip install, like where do I type it? That is wrong. You can't be a management student and tell me that I don't know what pip install means. That is what I'm saying. The idea of me teaching you Python and R in the third week is not going to be about learning how to code that you can learn on your own. It is more about understanding how to set up the environment, understanding where to you understand where to copy and paste it or how to install the modules. Right? But like this example that I've given you, you will find thousands of such examples on the internet completely prepared. And the only thing you need to do is to identify what you need to change. For example, this is our label, so we don't need to change it. This is the destination, we don't need to change it. But then if you keep on scrolling, look at this. Here you have to put your directory path. Basically, where will that downloaded file get saved? Obviously, right? That's it. And nothing else you need to change. Does that give you a little more comfort in terms of how we work with Python? This is how I learned. This is how everybody learns, right? We identify codes from the internet. One is Geeks for Geeks. The other is towards data science. I'm not opening it because we'll be covering this in detail later, right? I'll tell you exactly what process you should follow. Tell me.
Okay. Sir, like I was reading the notebooks, means the code which other participants had used. So, I am a beginner in Python, but still, when I read the code, I could see that they have used root mean square for finding the means they have found the relationship, and for analyzing they have used root mean square and many other statistical tools. What I needed to ask was that even if I learn Python, how would I means how would I know that those particular statistical tool can be used to analyze that data or can be used in that code?
You will not. That's the point. Learning Python and spending 50 hours learning Python and doing online courses and being very good with Python is not going to teach you how to be a better problem solver. Do you understand
Yes,
my point? You can
yes,
learn
sir.
50 things in Python. Now, which function to apply and which module to use, that is something that will come like how you're doing. You have to see what other people, you tell me something. The code that you told me that somebody did this, they applied this formula. Do you think it just came to their mind that they should do it? I'm sure they must
No.
have also learned it from other people. Is it not? You're doing the
Yes,
same
sir.
thing. You're learning from them. Correct. That's it. That's all you have to do. Like there is a website called Scikit-learn, which is used for machine learning, one of the most popular Python libraries. Classification, regression, all of us know, right?
Yes,
Clustering,
sir.
so on. And all you have to do is just click on it on Scikit-learn. They've already given you everything you need to know. What more do you need? Just watch this. Just click, and they've given you everything. They've even given you the code that you can copy and paste. So when people say, I don't know, there is so much information on the internet, I always tell people, why don't you look at the documentation first? First, go to the official website. No, the official website for Scikit-learn has everything that you need. Any topic, let's say regression, and I want a simple one. Okay, I will select my ordinary least squares, right? One of the most common ones that we, or let's say generalized GLR. I open this now. Of course, now if you say, but I don't know what all of this means and I'm not comfortable with it, you have to get comfortable, because if you're working with ML, then some level of comfort will have to be there. But if you look at the code is just this. It's just about 7-8 lines of code, right? But then you have to go deep. You have to say, what is power? What is alpha? What is this link? Why are we fitting the regression? Fitting the regression is basically just the line of best fit, right? This is how we all study. We go to a website, we identify the code, and then I spend 2 days with this code. I go through each and every line detail by detail. Then I do a lot of cross reading. Like whatever I don't understand, I will do a Wikipedia search or something and read about it, right? Like that.
Hmm.
See, there's no shortcut or there is no correct way of doing it. Learning is always unsystematic. What I mean to say is, it's not systematic in the sense that we say, okay, learn 1 and then 2 and 3 and 4. It doesn't work like that. Whatever you find interesting and whatever you are understanding at that moment, you learn it. Sometimes we learn an advanced topic first, and maybe we learn a simple topic later. People say that is foolishness. How can you learn an advanced topic in the beginning? Maybe it makes more sense, no, to see what is the business application and then focus on the smaller aspects, like what is the syntax, how does a formula look, things like that, right? So that's the approach I follow and what I have seen people in the industry do, and that's what I recommend to everybody else. Don't think that learning means I have to do first the basic foundation and then the intermediate level and then the advanced level. It doesn't make sense, because nobody in the corporate will ask you for the derivation. I do a lot of statistical projects. Clients don't ask me, Havish, how is standard deviation calculated and how is sum of squares calculated and how is the F value calculated? They just ask me, what is the R square? What is the adjusted R square? What is your line of best fit? What is your Y equal to MX plus B? But I need to know the other things for my understanding. But the client doesn't care about those things. That's why you should start with the application, like I did. See what the final output looks like. Once you have understood that, then you go backward and try to understand every single line one by one. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right? We'll discuss it more. We have 3 more sessions after this, right? So I understand your concern, and I'm sure the others have similar questions that, we want to learn Python, we want to put in time, but we don't know where to start. But you have to be a little patient because I want to focus on Power BI right now without getting too confused with too many other things. And I promise you that, of course, the first session that we have in the 3rd week, we're going to focus on this. Right?
One more
Final
thing,
question.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, on your Excel window, there were some case competitions um, uh, in your recent files. So after the session, can you give us a little practice or a little understanding of how all these case competitions and these all data analytics
Okay, sure. I'll do that.
can be
I'll do
done?
that. So just remind me at about 11 or 11:05, 11:05, right? Once we cover Power BI, I'll make sure to spend an extra 10-15 minutes on that. Make sense, everyone?
Yes, sir.
In fact, what we'll do is, by that time we would have learned Power BI. I will pick up a different file of one of the competitions that I judge. I will open the file and I'll show you how the answer we could have got in Power BI, right? Great. All right. So any other questions you have, just write it down or put it on the chat window and I'll answer it a little later. So last time what we had done was, let's quickly go back to where we were. Okay, so it's 9:30. 1 second. Okay, so last time we had seen that we had created a column chart, which is this one. We had a simple single data set with us. And then in this chart, we had created order date in the axis, obviously, sales in the value, and then we have profit, the number of unique customers, and the number of transactions in the tooltip, which is what you see in this black box, right? And we also created a slicer, which is this one, which is for the order date. So I can move it and everything changes. What about the colors? When I click on it, I went to data colors, and here we selected conditional formatting. And very simply, we said that we want a color scale, right? So that the colors are ranging from blue to rust, like this. Yeah, so this was a very basic example we had done, just so that now you're comfortable with the software. Today we'll start with a proper real life problem statement, right? But any questions, don't ask me new questions, but anything on what we had done last time. Anybody?
Sir, it was all clear for us, I
All
guess.
good for now? Excellent. Great. So now what we're going to do is, in the folder that I have shared with you, there is a model folder that I have shared. In Power BI week 1, there is the model folder. And we're going to spend about 1 hour on it. So let's get very comfortable with the data that we have with us, right? Let's see. So what we have here is sales. And the sales is for 4 years. So we have 2013, 14, and 15 in the old folder. And then I also have 2016 with me, right? So there are 4 years of sales. But then why are there 3 other files in my data? If the data is about one company and about one project, then why do we have so many different files? The reason is that if you look at one of the year of sales, let's say 2013, you will notice that we have a very simple data about 2000 records with order date, ship date, shipping mode, customer ID, segment, city, state, region, subcategory, sales quantity, and profit, right? But there are 2 things that are missing. Can you find out what are the two things that are missing? I'll just identify it for you. Anyone?
The price.
No. Let's not get into assumptions. Look at the two columns I've identified.
Category.
D and I. Yeah. So one is
Category.
One is the category. If I have the subcategories with me, obviously there has to be a category as well. And what about this?
Customer name.
The customer name, right? Now the logic is, but why is the data like this? Why is the category not written and the customer name not written? Because 99% of the time, when you take a dump from SAP or from Salesforce or any internal system, your data will come in this format. Your data will never have the names in it, and your data will never have the category in it. Why, if you ask, what is the point of having the name and the category? Obviously, each subcategory is mapped against only one category, and each customer ID is against only one customer name. That is why we have that mapping data, which is the lookup data in a different file. So if I open the other file for you, which is ID and name, you will notice that obviously each customer has a name that has been given here like this. We know that DP 13,000 is Darren Pass, right? And there is also a category file which tells me that the first category that was sold, which is paper, is a type of office supplies. Now, if I want to bring all the data together to analyze it, what should I do? If I wanted the customer name here and the category here, what function do we need to write? VLOOKUP, right? Everyone?
Yes.
We'll do a VLOOKUP, right? We will make a new column. We will say this is the name. Then we'll write equal to VLOOKUP. We're searching for D2. Then we'll go back. We will search both of them. And then we write column number 2 and it will tell us the name. This is something people have been doing for 36 years. And there is nothing wrong with this approach. But tell me, why is this not a good approach if I write the formula manually?
It is indirectly making our file larger.
It is making the file larger, correct. It is doing redundancy because I have to get the same data in another sheet. What else?
Sir, I think if the place of workbook is changed,
Absolutely. Because you are using a formula, there is always a risk that the file moves or somebody deletes the other file and the formula will crash, correct? Also, what about this? What is the other challenge? Even if I decide to write the formula, what is the next challenge I have? How many times do I need to write the formula?
So every time for every new year.
Every time a new file will come, I'll have to open that file and write a new formula. It is ridiculous, right? Like if you look at this process where we have to create a column, write a formula, drag it down. Tomorrow, if more records get added, I have to update the formula. There is always a risk that the formula might break. I can't move the files easily. I can, but it's not easy. And I have to do this every single time a new file gets added. When you add up all these issues together, you realize that this is foolishness. It doesn't make any sense to use a VLOOKUP. Now, do remember that worldwide, so Microsoft had done a survey, the most used function in the world is sum. The second used function is average. And the third most used function in the world is VLOOKUP. Right? So that just goes to show you how universally important VLOOKUP is. That's what people do, right? You have large data sets, but even before you analyze, you have to get the data set that you want. And how do you get the data you want? You have to use VLOOKUP for it, correct? But this is not what we are going to do, right? So we are going to use a relationship to connect my customer ID with the name and also connect my subcategory with the category, which means ignore the target for now. We are not doing this. Right now we have 6 files with us. We have 4 years of sales. And then I also have category and ID and name. 6 different files. All of them have to be combined into a single model that we are creating, right? Any questions on this, anybody, as to what we are doing? And then we'll start.
No, sir.
All good? All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I would request everyone to open a new Power BI file, please. Don't work on the other one. on which we worked last time. Please open a new one.
Yes, open.
Okay. First things first, please save the file so that in case something crashes or something goes wrong, you always have a backup with you. I'll also do the same thing. So on my desktop, we have work in progress, which is this Srcc, and I'm going to call this let's call this the model, right? And this would be March 27th, right? Perfect. Right. The first requirement that we have is we need to get data from a folder. That means there are 3 files in the folder. 2016, ignore for now. Let's look at 13, 14, and 15. So that folder we're looking at is the old folder, this one, right? What you have to do is to go to get data and then select more. Get data and then more. And the option we want is folder, this one. And as you can see, it says that it will import all the metadata for the files in a folder, every single file in a folder. So this is the one we want. Click on connect. And now it is asking you for the folder path. Be very careful here. What I personally like to do is to click in the bar, just copy it from here and come back and paste it here. I find it much easier, rather than going to browse and then searching where it is and then opening the file. I find it much easier to just click, copy, come back, and then paste it here, right? Just make sure that the last part should end with sales/old, right? Okay. Now
Sir,
click on OK.
so the path you have copied uh, on that on the my computer, you have copied from there only.
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
Sir, you have copied it from there only in the my computer section, right? I mean, opening the folder and you have copied the path from there and then pasted.
From
Okay.
here.
I was asking that this only. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Or you can also browse. I mean, it's the same thing. I'm just saying that this would be easier for you to do, right? So just navigate and select the folder that you want, click on OK, and click on OK once again. Now, for you, there would be 3 files that it will show. For me, there are 4 files. Any idea what this means? Any guesses?
This file is opened.
Exactly. It is an open file. So what happens is that whenever Excel opens a file, it creates what is called a temporary file. That's why you're noticing 2013 is coming 2 different times. Should we bother about this? Not at all, because the open file in any case will not be considered, right? In the append that happens when we are combining all the files. So we have 13, 14, 15 here. Please click on combine and transform at the bottom. And one final step that is required is, now that we have told it that there is a folder with multiple files in it, all we have to do is we have to select the sheet that we wanted. Obviously, there is only one sheet called sheet 1. And press OK. And press OK. And the moment you do that, what will happen is you will get a new window that will open up. One second. So you'll get a new window. Just press Alt Tab. If you're not able to find it, just press Alt Tab. right? And that's it. What we have done is we have opened Power Query, which is, if you notice in the top left corner, we're working on Power Query now. And what we have with us is, this is the data that we have, what I've highlighted. Then on the right side, we have the steps, which we have used to combine all the data from the folder. Here we have some things that are not relevant for us right now, like this part, this smaller rectangle that you see, this is all very advanced stuff. So we're not concerned with it. So I would request you to just minimize this. We don't need this right now. We just need to work on the query that we have. If you cannot see the formula bar, then you have to click on view and then enable the formula bar. I mean, you should be able to see it. If you can't see it, then you have to do this, right? Just click on the formula bar and you will get the formula bar. And now, how do we know that the three files have been combined? If you click on source.name, at the moment it is only showing you 2013, which is the first file. But if you click on load more, it will show you 13, 14, and 15. So as you can see, we have solved the first part of our problem statement, which was to combine the data from 3 years of sales without having to open any file, without having to copy and paste anything. Any questions so far? Anyone?
So it is automatically arranging the data in like ascending order or like
No. What do you think is the correct? What do you think? How do you think this order is coming as per the source name? The order in which the files were placed, it is in the same.
File selection, sir.
13, 14, 15.
It's not actually the file selection. Did we select the 3 files in an order? No. We only selected the folder, right? It is as per the order of the files in that folder. Because we have 13, 14, 15, it is 13, 14, 15. Right? Any other question on this?
Is it actually like appending the sheets or data?
Yep. Not like, that's exactly what it is doing. It is doing an append.
Okay. But without physically doing it.
Yeah. No manual intervention required. All we did was we selected from folder, we selected the folder path, we selected the sheet, and that's it. It has appended everything. But what is happening here on the right side? See, this is how Power Query works behind the scene. We did not need to write any code, and that's the beauty of Power Query. If you don't know how, it's actually not coding. This is a formula language. But yeah, the idea is that if you don't know how to write all these formulas, what you can see, this one and this one, it does not require you to do it. Like if I knew these formulas, I could have written it. But the best part is that I managed to reach to this point without having to do anything else. But let's understand what is happening. The first step is folder.files, which means it went to that folder and captured all the files. So it is now telling me 13, 14, 15, correct? What is the second step? It is telling me filtered hidden files. So it's only selecting the rows from the data, right? The visible rows from the data. And you notice at this step, there is no 2013 temporary that has been removed automatically, right? What is the next step? Now it says add a column. So it added a new column. Just look at the difference between these. We have our data like this. And in this one, a new column has been added. One second, let me just show it to you properly. Do you see last folder path? In the next step, it automatically adds something called the transform file. Transform file is nothing but the content. That means from the file, we also have to get the data right. We don't just want the file name, we also want the data. Then it did a renaming of the column. That means, now you notice, do you see this? This is called name extension date access. Look what happens. It becomes source.name. Look at the difference, everyone. Name becomes source.name, because otherwise, how will we know that this row is coming from which file? After that, I removed all the other columns. That means I only kept this first, second one, and this last one. Because see, this is not needed, this is not needed, this is not needed, this is not needed, correct? So we only wanted the source and we wanted the content, which is the last one. So that's why I removed all the other columns. I just kept source.name and transform file. But now this data that is there in 13, 14, 15 has to be expanded. That is why we are expanding it like this. And you get the entire data, right? After that, if you look at all of the headings, this is ABC 1 to 3, ABC 1 to 3. Any guess what ABC 1 to 3 means?
So the data
So
type.
the data type.
What is the data?
It will accept
Alphanumeric.
entries like alphabets and numbers.
Alphanumeric.
Exactly. No. It's not just it's not alphanumeric. ABC 1 to 3 means it's undefined. If it's alphanumeric, then you will have to select ABC, basically text. You get the idea, right? So far, have we told Power Query what is the data type? No. So it is saying that I don't know what is the data. It could be anything. It could be a number. It could be a date. It could be a text. So ABC 1 to 3 does not mean it's alphanumeric. ABC 1 to 3 means that as of now, this is undefined. Like this one has been defined already, but this has been undefined. This has been undefined. But this is very irritating, no? Because you have to come to each column and say that this is a date, this is a number, this is a text. That is what it is doing automatically, called changed type. So you notice it is automatically detecting that this is a date, this is a date, this is a text, and at the end, these are numbers that we have. And then finally, the last step we did was we saw 13, 14, 15. So we filtered the rows where we wanted to select all the rows in the first column. That's how it is working behind the scene. Right? Now tell me if you have any questions.
Sir, these steps are already applied when we combine them and then transform them.
100%. That's the beauty of Power Query. When you say get data from folder and you select the sheet, all of this is happening automatically. The only reason, in fact, if you don't want to look at it, you can close this and you can also close the formula bar. If you are not interested in looking at how it is working, but that's not correct, no? Because if you don't learn it, then how will you make changes and become an advanced user and make modifications? So you should always have the formula bar, and you should also have the, I'm sorry, not this, query settings, right?
So will Power BI use these 8 filters every time, or it changes with the data?
What filters? Steps, you mean?
The steps, yes, sir.
Okay, what about these steps?
Like, are these steps here because of the data type, the content we are we have uploaded in the software, or because these are fixed?
No.
Will it occur to each and every file I upload?
Listen.
Yes.
These steps are unique because we were selecting the data from a folder. If the data in the folder was a CSV file, then the steps would have been different. If the data in the folder would have been a PDF, then the steps would have been different. If I was selecting the data from a single Excel, then the steps would have been different. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Obviously, right? If I was selecting a single Excel, then will I get folder.files as the first step? Obviously not. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All good. Now we'll come to the options later. I would like you to close and apply this, please. Close and apply. So now you're telling Power BI that I'm happy with the output. I have everything that I need. In fact, the source.name is not required, or let it be there. That's okay. We want to close and apply. Basically, send the data back to the dashboard so that I can start creating visualizations. So let's click on close and apply. And what happens now? The query is getting saved and the data will get loaded, but there will be only one data set. There will not be 3 files, 30, 40, 50. There is only one file called old because that's the name of the folder. So make a card like this. In fact, make a visual column chart. And in the column chart, please keep the order date and the sales amount. Order date and the sales amount. Right? So obviously you have 3 years, 13, 14, 15. Now I want somebody to tell me that if I want to add 2016 to the same visualization, what do you think are the steps that would be required? Right? Because I can't add 16 separately, right? 16 has to be added to the same visualization. So what do you think would be the steps that are required?
Sir, there is an append option also.
Okay, very good. I'm very happy that you observed that. What else? Can you think of anything else? What is the most simple way of doing it? To add 16 to this data, what do you think should be the most simple way of doing it?
So adding the year 2016 or data?
Get data.
No. 2016, would the simplest way not be to just select the file and put it in the same folder?
In the same folder, yes, sir.
Let's
Yes,
see if
sir.
it works. So I put the file in the folder, we come back, click on refresh, and Power BI takes care of everything else. You notice, you click on refresh and the chart gets updated. If you wanted to, yes, you could have connected to it separately. Then you could have done an append and all of that. But the beauty is that you don't have to do anything. The process has already been saved using Power Query. So in the future, if any change happens to that folder, a value is changing, row is getting added, rows are getting deleted, value is getting updated, whatever it is, new file is getting added, whatever change happens,
In the
you
my
just have to click on refresh.
the folder in the my computer section, if we add data there, then it will automatically get updated here. Is
In
it
the folder,
here? Okay. Yes.
you can add a new file, you can delete an old file, you can also update any value. So just to show you, if you notice 2016 is coming as 7.33 lakh. Don't do this, just for your understanding. Let's say in 2016, I come and I put 1 lakh here. Okay. Is it 1 lakh or 10 lakh? 1 lakh, okay? See what will happen. 1 lakh. So the moment I come back and I refresh it, you notice that instantaneously the value gets updated. It becomes 8 lakhs, right? Good. Any questions, anyone? Take a minute, think about it. There is no point continuing if you still have some unsolved questions, right? So just think and let me know.
Sir,
Yep.
like has the get data option been disabled for online Power BI?
See, why do you ask? Are you working on the Mac?
Yes.
Yeah, so see, on the
It's
Mac,
showing
it's a little
very
different. No,
manually.
let me explain. See, how it works is that if you're working online, okay, for both Windows and Mac users, when you're working online, the process is a little different. When you click on get data here you can only select a file. You can't select or a database, right? You can't select a folder. But then how do you use Power Query?
No, sir. No, sir. It's not even showing for a file, and it's showing like looking for Excel, and we are adding it soon. So that's why I has it disabled that option too.
No, it's there, no? Are you not getting this option?
No, sir.
Are what do you mean you're not getting this option? Share your screen. Let's see.
Acha, it's second. See, sir.
No, wait. Go back to the home page. Okay, now click on that. Just click on those 3 horizontal lines that you see in the top left corner. In the top left corner, below Power BI. Top left. Below that. Yeah, just click on these. Yeah. Now click on Get Data at the bottom.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
This is the
Okay,
one
sir.
you did, no? Or you did something else?
I was creating a report.
This is the one you have to create, right? Get data. But this will not give you a folder in any case, right? That is something different. But I will show it to you because see, for everybody, this is also important, right? Sometimes you like eventually you will all be working on the cloud. This is not in the scope of the training, but I still want to show you how it works, right? But I request you not to do it now because it will take a lot of time. And there are a few other things you have to keep in mind. So what we do is that we have to create what is called a new data flow. Right? We can't just connect to a folder. We have to create what is called a data flow. Data flow is basically Power Query, right? So when you click on data flow, it will open Power Query for you. But now, like I said, this is all very technical. So it says import model, link entities, and so on. So I can just say add new entities. And what you see on the screen right now, everybody, is Power Query. You see same options, folder, JSON, PDF, and like that, right? And now when I select the folder, I can select the folder path, which is on my system. So I will have to select the same path, which is this. But you have to select this on-premises data gateway. This your IT team will have to set up for you. So like I have my data gateway that has been defined. And if everything is working properly, 1 second. Why am I not able to see the next button? Just a moment. folder path. Power. Not really sure. 1 second. Just hold on. Okay, seems to be working now. Perfect. So folder, but the folder is not working. Let me show it to you with an Excel file. So I click on Excel, but the file cannot be, I think, on your computer. It has to be somewhere on a like a shared folder, right? So on my OneDrive, I will just select any file that has been saved. Let's say, 1 second. I'm not sure. Let's just select one. Let's say book 8, right? And then you have to set up this data gateway, and then everything is okay. So this is anonymous, and then I can click on next. And I just want to show you the windows so that all of you know what we're doing. And see, this is all IT stuff, right? So you will always have issues that will come in. You can't really avoid that. 1 second. I just want to show you how the final output looks. Okay. And now when I select sheet 1, don't look at the data. The data is just some names. This, everybody, is how Power Query works on the internet. Is it the same that we have on Power BI desktop? Not quite, but almost the same. You notice same steps, applied steps, everything. But here you have this beautiful feature, which is called diagram view. This one, view, diagram view. Diagram view has this. Don't you think this is much easier than writing the steps by connecting different steps like this? It is, isn't it? But this feature, as at the moment, is not available in Power BI desktop. In Power BI desktop, you will have to write steps like this, like in a very old way, one by one. But in the online version, you'll be able to create this diagram view. It's so cool, right? Like I can just click on plus, I can add the step that I want, and it will do it for me. For example, let's say I want to, just to give you one example, let's say I select my column, I want to change it into uppercase. Column 1, right? Let me just increase the size, column 1. How do I do that? Transform. Then I will say format, and then I will say uppercase. And you notice the moment I do that, a step gets added here called uppercase, right? Like this. So, the point is that these things get updated very often. Like the diagram view is so new, it has not been launched on Power BI, and very few people have it right now. So it's still in an alpha stage. So the point that I'm trying to make is that you have to constantly keep on studying Power BI. Because if you study from this workshop and you stop learning, in 6 months you will get outdated. Because every month there'll be new updates and new features that will keep on coming in, right? I'm not scaring you, I'm just giving you a perspective that don't feel, Havish, suddenly you're showing us a new thing. I wish I can show you a lot of different things, right? But first we have to focus on Power BI desktop, which is the most important thing. And then one bit at a time, you can start learning all of these things as well. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Take a minute and think and let me know.
So in the query part, these are the applied steps.
Which ones?
Source, navigation, changed
Yeah,
column.
it's the same thing. See,
So, but in
what you have in the applied steps on 1 second. Query settings. No, what you have here is the same thing that is being shown here in the diagram also.
yes,
1, 2,
but
3,
in
4.
our case, we got 8 applied steps in the
No.
in the
This
initial
is not
phase.
the same example. Here I've only connected to an Excel file.
Okay, sir.
This example is different. I just wanted to show you how the interface looks. That's all. This is not repetition of what we did from the folder.
Okay.
This is a completely different data set altogether. Right? And obviously, when you are using Power Query online, it can't just connect to a local file. Like you notice, it is now not selecting a local file, it is selecting web content, which is from my SharePoint, like this. Great. So, all right, let's discard it. Let's come back. So we have combined the sales from 4 years, which is wonderful. But the problem is I don't know the customer name, which means if I double click, right, and I say, show me who are my top 5 customer. Oh, we did not do the Q&A last time, right? That's okay. Let's do it in a different way. Let's say I just want to keep my customer name somewhere. So I want to keep my customer name, but I don't have it. Obviously, I already have the ID with me. Now we want to pull another data, which is the customer name, which is this, right? Let's do this, please. Click on Excel. Please save the file before you do this. Click on Excel. And that's it. Just select the Excel that we want, which is ID and name, this one. And press open. And select the sheet you want, ID and name. So tell me, what is the problem that you see here?
Sir, now as we have ID already here, so it will connect the ID to this sheet, and then it will automatically, the name will be connected to the sheet.
Okay, a small correction. It will not connect. We have to connect it, right? So,
yes, sir.
I mean, the idea is that Power BI can connect the two things, but why will it happen automatically? Why do you expect that Power BI is so smart that if I say, okay, Havish has added another file, I'm sure that the new file is connected to the old file? Obviously not, right? We have to tell it that the two data sets are not different, but they're actually connected to each other. But what is the problem when you look at this?
Maybe the name are not in proper order.
Do you see this?
Yes, sir.
The order is okay, but the heading.
Headings.
Right? Why is it calling it column 1 and column 2? Any guesses?
That is prefixed.
No.
Where it is taking the headers to be a form of data also. So
right. So what it did was, this is a text value, name and CID, and this is also text. This is also text, correct? That is why Power BI does not know that the first row is actually the heading, and the rest of the rows are text values, right? We know that CID is a heading and name is a heading. DP 13,000 is a ID and Darren Powers is a name, correct? How does Power BI know that? That is the reason it thinks that maybe everything is the data. That is why it has put two arbitrary column numbers, column 1 and column 2. But now we want to tell Power BI that no, this is not correct because I already have the headings with me. So please click on transform data. Please click on transform data. And you notice same problem, column 1 and column 2. And now you notice there are two data sets we have. One is called old, the other is called ID and name. Also, let's change the name. What is old? It doesn't mean anything, no? So let's double click and I want to call it fact underscore sales, and this one becomes dim underscore name. Please rename them. Does anybody know what is fact and what is dim? If you have studied it in engineering or something.
So can you repeat the process?
The process to do what? To connect to the file or to change the name?
To change the name, like
double click or right click and rename. Or you can also change it here. There are multiple ways of doing it.
Okay, sir.
In last class, we used dim for dimensions in VB, I think.
Exactly. No. Wait. No. That's something different. I'm happy you remember that, but that was a declaration of a variable. This dim is a dimension, but that was a declaration that we were doing, right? So it's not quite the same thing. Dim versus fact, everybody, is if you just Google what is dim versus fact, it is not a concept in Power BI. It is a concept in relational databases. So when you work on SQL, for example, that is how relational databases work. So if I can show you an image, Relational databases mean that. Look at this. What is the fact? All my transactional data, like what is the sales happening every day, is a transactional data. That is what we call a fact, because we keep on adding to it every day. But what is the dimensions? Dimensions are details about that data. So let me ask you a quick question, okay, rapid fire. The lectures that you attend, is it a fact table or a dimension table?
Fact.
Fact. Why? Because every day you will keep on adding and attending more lectures. The specialization that you have, fact or dimension?
Dimension it will
Dimension. Because one student will only have one or two or whatever number of specializations you have, right?
be. Yes.
Okay. What about the budget for a company? Is it fact or is it dimension? Think. Don't give me a quick answer on this one. Take a minute. Think about it. Is the budget a fact or is it a dimension?
Fact.
But the budget itself is a fact. However,
Fact.
the factors behind it, the attributes will be dimensions.
No. Let's not complicate it. The simple question is, if there is a budget, if I say the North has a budget of 50, South has a budget of 30, and so on and so forth, is it a fact or is it a dimension?
It's a fact.
Fact.
It's not quite clear, to be honest, which one it is, right? Now, in a way, you can say that it's a dimension because the numbers are not going to change. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not that you're adding a new budget every day, right? The budget is the annual operating plan is decided at the beginning of the year. So if I can just show it to you in an Excel file, just think of it this way. I have North and I have South, right? North had a budget of 1000, South has a budget of 500. And then I have the actual sales that are happening. So I say that North has a few transactions and South has a few transactions, and then North has one more transaction. And some numbers are here, right? So I'm just writing 100 here, right? This is definitely a fact, no question about it, because every day I'll be adding a new transaction. But this is not really changing, right? Like the number can change. Maybe the budget is revised at some point in the year, but it's not that you're adding new rows to it, no, every day. What do you think? The budget is just telling me that North has only one budget, which is 1000. South has only one budget, which is 500. By that logic, this becomes a dimensional table. Think
But sir,
about it.
actually we are changing the data in the budget now.
That way, even in the dimension, you can change the data. In the customer name table, is it not possible that the old customer ID has now been given to a new customer? Like your old mobile number is reassigned to a new customer? See, everybody, dimension does not mean that the data will never change. Dimension means that the data will not change frequently. It is a description of the data. It tells us that MB is connected to Mick Brown. Similarly, I can also say that North has 1000 because North has only one budget. But here, North has multiple sales transactions. How can North have multiple budgets? It's not possible. Maybe North product A has 700, North product B has 300. But North overall will only have one budget in it, isn't it? In practical usage, we always consider budget as a dimension. Think about it. When you go back, try to download a file and like I have done, just prepare a file and think, how should we look at the budget? The budget is not, the budget can change. I'm not saying the numbers are written in stone and they can't change, but you're not adding new records every day. You're not adding a new budget every day, right? You might be updating the budget every day, but in the fact table, every day there'll be a new transaction that gets added, right? That's why it has to be a fact table. Some food for thought. Like I said, I'm not giving you a clear answer saying, no, this is wrong or this is correct. Just think about it. You can even Google it. So you can say, is budget a dim or fact? And right, so you can see there are a few people who have tried to do budgeting. I'm not really sure how you will search for it. Just one second. Look at this cost type. This dimension defines if the cost within the fact table is a budget or an actual cost. So you will find a few people who will have this question in terms of how this works, right? And the best way of doing it, dim versus fact examples. If you really want to understand this in detail, Guru 99 is also not a bad website because it's completely to the point. So it tells you exactly how these work, right? Like you don't have to read the entire thing, but maybe just have a look at it. So fact table contain business facts, which are measures, right? And dimension table contains descriptive attributes that are typically textual fields. But hold on, you must be saying, but Havish, you just told us that budget is a dimension. So how can it be a number? Do you see this? They say it can also be a discrete number that behave like text. Now, even though here a number is not behaving like a text, the Excel that I showed you, but it is a discrete number. It's not a continuous number, no? Because there's only one number for the budget for that day. Like I said, that's the beauty of working with relationships and working with modeling. You don't really have a clear, reason to decide whether it's one or two. It depends on a lot of factors. Sometimes we consider it as a fact. There are lots of reasons, because sometimes the organization might not have one budget for North. They might have 4 different budgets for North because different people are aggregating the budget. Like there are 4 managers, and the combined budget of the 4 managers becomes a North budget. So in that case, I'll have to make it a fact table, right? Or maybe there is a new budget coming every month. If there is a new budget coming every month, then I have to make it a fact table. So I'm just giving you some food for thought that this is how a data analyst has to work. This is how a consultant has to work. You always have to keep on thinking, and a lot of times you don't have a clear answer. So you have to apply your own logic and defend it. You have to defend why I felt that there should be a dimension, or why I felt that there should be a fact. Right? That's all I wanted to share with you. Okay. So what do we need to do? We need to fix the column header. This, of course, is a dimension. There's no question about it. So at least in this discussion, now you know what is a fact and what is a dimension, correct? How do you make the first row as the header? There is a button called.
There is an option called. Yes.
I'm sorry.
I was talking about the same thing, sir.
Yeah.
Use first row as headers.
Absolutely. So you have a button here called use the first row as headers. Very simple. Click on it, and this becomes a header. Now let's say you made a mistake. That means after making CID and the name as the header, what if you click on it one more time? Now this becomes incorrect. How do you cancel this step?
So just we can cross it here. Applied steps.
Yeah. So remember, whenever you do an incorrect step, you will have to delete it from here. Control Z will not work, because we are so used to pressing Control Z, right? We feel that it should work. But interestingly, in Power Query, Control Z does not work. So you have to cancel the step from it. Like if I don't want the promoted headers, I'll cancel it. Then I'll do it once again, like this. I'm sorry, once again. Like this. CID and name. Right, everyone? So CID and name, and then we have the fact sales. Please close and apply. Okay. Now my question is, if I want to see a list of all the customers and the sales value, the data is in different tables, obviously, because in my name, I have the name, and in my sales, I have the sales value. So my question to you is, if I make a table, this one, just nothing special, just make a normal table. And in this table, if I keep a list of all the customer names from here, and I also keep the sales value, what do you think? Will it work or will it not work? Before I do it, quickly, what do you think?
Yes, it should work.
See, it will work in the sense that it will show me some data, but the data will be incorrect. It is showing me the same data, which is the total sales, right? Why is it 23,97,197? Wait. Oh, wait. Just a moment.
So we have to connect it using measure, I guess.
Yeah, no. We have to connect it, but not a measure. Something different. Is everybody seeing this result?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, what this means is that, yes, I have managed to create a table using one column from here and one column from here. That means it's very smart. Like in Excel, I can't even do this. I have 2 different data sets and I have combined it into a single visualization. Right? In Excel, you can't combine multiple tables into a pivot table. I mean, you can, but that is Power Pivot. You can't do it normally. All we have to do now is click on the modeling button here on the left side. Please click on the modeling button. And we know that customer ID and customer ID are the same. This one and this one is the same. They're linked to each other, right? So just select it, drag it, and put it on top of customer ID like this. And this will create a what we call a relationship between the two tables. Right? Let's go back and see what has happened. Now you notice it's working properly. Beautiful, right? This means that how many files have we connected to right now? Guys? This data is coming from how many files?
Sir, 4, sir.
Five. Five files. 4 years of sales and a customer name, right? So this is so when I click on refresh, it is managing to create one table which is essentially pulling the data from 5 different files, which is so cool, right? Like this 4624, think about it. This 4624 is not coming from one file, it is actually coming from 4 different files, but it is able to show us the sum for a sample from 4 different files. And to the end user, they don't know that there is so much complexity behind the scene. They just know that this is the result that we want. Right? While you all are thinking of questions that you want to ask me, I want to show you an example of how a real world model looks like. We have created a simple model right now. I also want to show you how a complete model looks. Look at this. This is a project that I'm doing right now for one of my clients. And yeah, the report here is not important. Look at the model. Look at the size and the complexity of the model that we have created. But the logic remains the same. What I've shown you just now, I'm sorry, let me just zoom a little bit. The logic remains exactly the same, but yes, obviously you can imagine it becomes much more complex when you have so many different data sets that are coming, right? You know, so this is the thing people don't realize. Before Power BI was there, Excel users sure would write formulas and create spreadsheet models, but we never had to bother with dimension and fact and relationships and all of that. Now that Power BI has come in, like earlier, this work would be done by IT guys, right? MIS guys. This is what they do, not analysts and MBAs. MBAs were not supposed to do this. This was supposed to be done by IT people. But now that Power BI has come, people always say it's such a good tool. I agree. But the problem is, it also means that you have to learn many more things now. Because if you want to be a Power BI user, now you have to start to know what is dim and fact. Like when I did my MBA in 2009, if we did not know what is dim and fact, that's okay. You know, as an MBA student, nobody expects us to know what is dimension and what is fact. But today, as an MBA student, you have to know what it is, whether you are from IT or you're not from IT. Because of course you're working in analytics, maybe not specializing in it, but definitely working on it. And if you're working on Power BI, how can you say that I know Power BI if I don't know how dimensional fact works?
Sir, this is just the naming, right? I mean, for example, we might, name it incorrectly, like this is dimension or this is fact.
Oh,
But
yeah, absolutely. This is just for your understanding. I've called it dim underscore in fact. This is a convention that we follow typically. So if you notice, even the other model that I showed you, I did this. The table name could have been anything. It doesn't matter. Right. Okay. Can anybody also tell me what is?
Sir, one to many. This is one. This is showing one to many relationship.
What is this and this? So what is one to many? What does it mean?
Sir, name is only one. Name is unique here, but they can have different. In the name of one person, there can be many orders or many sales. That's why it is one to many.
Right. So what it means is that the table on the left has each customer ID coming only one time, but the table on the right has each customer ID coming multiple times. Is it necessary that each customer ID on the left is coming on the right?
Not necessary.
Not necessary. Maybe I have a customer who did not purchase from me at all, right? But if there is a customer ID, it cannot appear two times in the dimension table. It's not possible. In the dimension table, it will appear only one single time. Right? Good. Any other question before we do the next one?
Sir, in that table you have made right now, that name and sales, my total sales it is showing 15 lakhs 63,000 something, and in
No,
your
no. Have
table.
you added 2016? Just check that.
Okay, okay, I have not added that. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
just add 2016. The total sales should be, if I just can make just a card, let's make the visual also at the same time. Please make
Yes,
this
sir.
the card, everyone, and just put the sales in it. It should show you 2.29 million. Let's add a border and shadow as well. So we have one more thing to do in the model. After that, we will start to focus on the visualizations. Right?
Sir, where is the refresh button here? Okay, not
This
it.
one.
Okay, thank you.
Fine, sir.
All good? All right. Now, the next thing we need is the category as well. Let's do that. And then we start with visuals. Same thing, Excel. Select the category. And tell me how many problems do you see this time?
Sir, we have to deal with this null, I guess.
What is the first problem? The first problem is the same as the last one. The column heading is not coming properly. What is
Yes.
the second problem?
So the
We have
null
to deal
value.
with this null.
Yeah. So remember, in Power BI, you don't have the concept of a blank. Like in Excel, we have a blank cell, right? Here, a blank cell is represented as a null. So tell me, what should come here in these three?
Right?
Furniture.
Furniture.
Furniture, right? So
Yes, sir.
basically, we need to copy the value down, but then we have to do that manually, right? In Excel. I want to show you how we do the same thing in Power Query. So click on Transform. First things first, please rename the file, rename the query rather. So this is dim underscore category, right? So that we know what it is. Dim underscore category. First step, you already know, we have to click on first row as headers. No question about that. And the second step is also very simple. You just have to right click on the first column. So right click on the first column and then you say fill down. That's all. Fill and then down. So it writes a function called table.fillDown, and as you can see, works perfectly.
So the Power BI is reading the null value as vacant space.
Say that again.
So Power BI is reading the null value as vacant space. Like as we are doing fill down, it is like going till office supplies
Yeah,
only.
absolutely. So what it does is it keeps on filling the value down till it finds the next value.
So it is like a loop that it is going on, and then again, when you get the another value, it will break the loop. Something like that.
Sort of like that, but this is, see, the back end of Power Query is not programming. There is no programming language that is doing it. So actually there is no loop being run. But yes, I mean, the process is like a loop that it identifies. It's like a do until loop, right? So do until you find the next cell, right? Makes sense? Or you can say do while. So do while. So while the cell is blank, keep on filling it till you find the next cell, like that. Okay, close and apply. Now this time something very interesting will happen. If you click on model, you notice that this time the relationship has been created automatically, which is very strange. Like, why did it not happen the first time? Why is it happening this time? There are a lot of reasons for it. Some people feel that if the column name is the same, then it comes automatically, even though that is not correct. It's not just the column name. There are many factors as to why sometimes it does an automatic detection, right? But even if it is automatically detecting it, I would still advise you to go back and check and double check to make sure that everything is working properly. But as you can see, subcategory and subcategory have been linked together.
Done, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any question, anyone?
No, sir.
So can you repeat the last step?
Sure. Just tell me which step would you like me to repeat? Like connecting to the category file or something else?
Sir, that values one.
No, you're not clear. What do you say, values? Do you have this dim category in Power Query? Are you on this window? Why don't you share your screen? That would be easier. Can you share your screen?
Sir, I think she's asking about fill down.
Okay, all right. So I'll do it once again. I have these null values, which are blank cells. I just have to right click on the first column and then click on fill and then fill down. That's all. And then
Yes, sir,
close it.
clear.
Got it? And now if I want to filter the data to see the data only for one category, I can make a slicer, this one. Right? And in the slicer, we will keep our category now. And now everybody, what we have done is we have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files. And the best part is that all these 6 files are connected to each other, which means that when I click on furniture, you notice that everything is changing. The column chart is changing, the table is changing, the number is changing, right? Like this. So I'm essentially doing an operation of 6 files live at the same time. So if any change happens in any of those 6 files, that will reflect in my dashboard as well. Okay. So this is the card. Just a moment. This is the card that I created, and this is the slicer that I've created. great. Any questions, anybody?
No, sir.
All good? Okay, now let's start to work with visuals, right? Now that we've done the modeling bit, let's start to create visualizations. So the first one I want you to do is Q&A, this one. Which is question and answer. This is natural language processing. What it does is, if you make this, you can ask questions from your data. Like I can say, who are my top 5 customer name in India? And it tells you top 5 customers. I'm not sure why we don't have, we don't have India. This is United States. So let's say New York. Maybe as a table, so it will make a table for you. If you say as a pie chart, it will make a pie chart for you. Take your time, try them out one by one. Right? Okay, what are the other type of questions that I can ask? I can say, let's say, show me my state by sales as a map. I hope all of you can see that the sentence is actually not required. If you just type state sales map, it will still work. You just need to put the keywords. It's not the actual sentence, it's just the keywords that are required. If you say bar chart, then it makes the bar chart. State sales bar. If you say, please watch, region state sales bar, then it makes region state sales bar. In fact, let me make it segment, that would be better. Region segment sales bar. If you say region segment sales pie, then it makes like this. Beautiful, right? Like so simple to work with and saves you so much time.
Sir, can you give the map one once again? Map one.
That's it. State sales map.
We just have to write whichever format we want, right? So,
Yeah. So, and this can be quite detailed. Like if you say state sales map, New York consumer. What is it doing? It is not working. One second. Actually, that's why we write a complete sentence because it makes it easier. So I'll say, show me sales by state as map for consumer segment in New York. Oh yeah, it's working, right? Obviously, there'll be only one thing that will be shown. So if I say in, let's say one region, if I say in the West region, it only identifies the West region for me and only for the consumer segment. So you can even make your question much more detailed, right? Like this. Like if you want to see the data only for 2016, you can say for 2016 order date. So it will now only show you the data for 2016, not for all the 4 years.
Yes.
Right? It's very simple. There's not much for me to tell you. And they will keep on making this feature more and more powerful with time, right? So like you guys are looking at it probably for the first time. When I started using it in 2018 March, 18 March is on like 3 years back. It's crazy. It was there. It used to be so simple, like some very basic things you could ask, and that's it. And it's amazing to see how far they have come in 3 years. And it's, you know, exciting to think about how much more they will do in the future, right? Okay, so we've done the Q&A. Let's skip that. And what I want to show you next is, okay, so a lot of you appear for competitions, right? So this is something that will really help you. Please come to this scatter chart and put your customer name in the, or your name rather, in the details. Sales is in the x-axis and profit is in the y-axis. Please do this. Now, if you have the latest version of Power BI, you should be able to see, 1 second. I'm not sure if they've added it or not. Yeah, this one. It's called the zoom slider, this one. Just see if you have this. I'm sure you would. If you have installed Power BI just now, you should have the zoom slider, and this will allow you to sort of focus on a specific area. Very cool, right? Like all of these are very new features, which have been added like, I think 2 months back, 2-3 months back. These were not there for 5 years. So let's say if you want to focus on a specific part, right, like this, and emphasize on that, right, you can do that. Just see how nice this is. So easy to work with, isn't it? Yeah, anyway, let's remove the zoom slider for now. Now in customer analytics, it's very important to do things like customer cohort, customer segmentation, customer lifetime value, and all these things are in the course which I've shared with you, which is on customer analytics, this one. There is, I think, a 1 or 2 hour course in customer analytics, which covers all these topics, which are covered on Excel. But the easy way of finding out cohort from this is to, have you guys heard of the k-means? Anyone? Definitely read about it, the k-means clustering. This is one of the easiest and most common ways of doing clustering, right? We have a concept of what we call a centroid, right? It's the center point of an object. And then you have something called a Euclidean distance, right? I mean, this is something I'll also cover in the Python sort of session that we do next week. But I'm just giving an idea that this is one of the most obvious clustering algorithms that we use in machine learning as well, right? It's not just in Excel that we are doing it or Power BI. We use it in machine learning. This is, in fact, one of the first things you learn in machine learning. Right? And just let me see if I can show you an interactive one so that I can explain how this works. Just a moment. Right. So, okay. So the web application shows the demo of 2D points. What I want to do is to add this. 1 second. Like this. So basically, that's what it is trying to do. It is trying to say that there are these clusters that are being created, and these points are closest to the gray one. These two are closest to the green one. This is closest to the purple one, like this. So there are 7 clusters that have been created here, like this. Does it give some idea how that works? Of course, you can, like I said, there are many academic websites that explain how this works. And if you're interested at all in machine learning and all, I suggest this is the best place to start. Very easy, but it will give you enough information, right? So if I say find closest centroid, you notice that it is trying to find the closest centroid. So if I make it completely random, then obviously it's not good. But if I say it's highly clustered, this is highly clustered.
These 3 small triangles are vertices of a triangle, or what? These 3 triangles.
These are the centroids that are being created.
Okay.
That means the point which is closest, like this is closest to this is closest to this is closest to this. What do we do in regression?
Right. So what is a practical example of this?
I will give you one. Wait.
And sir, can we please do one example of regression modeling?
Okay. Because that I'm only doing that because that will help you with this one. Hold on. I will do. I just have to think of the right file. 1 second. So I did a session for ET. Day 2 and regression would be the last one, right? I'll also put it in the same folder as yours. I'm not sending this file because that will take longer. It's very simple.
Sir, it's there in Teachable module 1 of the module regression correlation.
It's already there, but let me do one live example as well. So let's say we have regression, right? So let me remove everything first. The simple question that I have here is, I have the data for 24 months, 2 years, and I have the advertising expenditure in lakhs and I have the sales in crores. So I say that when I'm spending 82 lakhs on ads, I get 15 crore in my revenue. If I increase my advertising to 92 lakhs, it becomes 25 crores, correct? When I decrease it to 83, then obviously the sales comes down. Fair enough. Do you think I should do correlation here or regression? Anyone?
Regression.
Correlation.
Both.
Correlation.
Both are important. Correlation because obviously my sales and my advertising will be correlated, but also regression because there is a dependency, right? The sales is because of advertising, correct? If my advertising is going up and down, then of course the sales is going to be directly impacted by it, right? And how do we do that? The simplest way, I'll not get into details right now because you can see that in the course. The simplest way is to simply write linest, right? What we're doing here is return the statistics that describe a linear trend matching known data points by fitting a straight line using the least squares method. We don't need to know the derivation. All we need to know is this is my y value, comma, this is my x value. That's it. Nothing else. What will it do? It will give you two numbers, 0.44 and minus 18. Can anybody tell me what is 0.44 and what is minus 18?
So 0.44 is the correlation.
No.
Is it?
The coefficient for the regression.
Intercept. And what is the minus 18? It is the
constant.
Slope.
The slope. So what is the equation that we write?
Y equal to mx plus c.
Okay, so now tell me, if I want to predict the sales for Jan and I have 110 crore in 110 lakhs in advertising, what will be my predicted sales equal to?
Sir, mx plus c slope minus 18.
Tell me the cells. Which cell with
Intercept
which?
into 110.
So I will do
F4.
Slope.
Intercept plus
Slope into
110.
x
And
plus. I'm doing a plus because this
E4.
actually I think is a minus. 1 second. You're right. Okay, wait. So a second. I've also forgotten which one is which. 1 second. So here this will be the slope and this will be the intercept. Absolutely. We will do equal to 0.44 multiplied by 110 lakhs, and then I do plus this, right? We'll get 30 crores. Simple. If I say that no, I don't have the budget, I can only invest 70 lakhs in advertising, then obviously it will be 12 crores. It will drop to 12 crores. If I have more money, if I invest 120 lakhs, then I will expect to do 34. This is the simplest way of how regression works, right? Any questions on this? Obviously, I've explained this in much more detail in the course, but this is a quick example to show you how it works.
Got it, sir.
Right? Okay. Yeah, so let's come back. Let's come to this. In fact, if you look at analytics, here also you have the trend line. But I personally don't like it because the problem is if you just make a line, I mean, it will not tell you anything. It doesn't tell you how it was created, what is the equation, what is the number, nothing. It just makes a line, which I feel will confuse people much more. So personally, I like to not keep this in the analytics option. Like if you want to, you can, but I would suggest don't do that. It's only going to confuse people, right? Okay, now the practical application. How many customers do we have right now? How do we find that? Anyone? How many customers do we have?
Maybe using Q&A.
Very good. I will write Q&A. And what do I write here?
Number of
The
customers.
number of customers.
Total number of customers.
Name. If I write the name, it shows me the name. But if I say count name, it tells me 796. Do you see how easy and how nice this is? Like I don't have to open the data, apply a filter, remove the duplicates, nothing. I just say count name, it gets me 793. Now, are all the 793 customers equally important to the business? Obviously not. So if I'm running an activation campaign or I want to give them some discounts or some offers, how do I decide which customer is silver category, gold category, and platinum category? Ideally, the platinum category will be the customers who are high on sales and high on profit, obviously. Then you have the gold and then you have the silver, correct? But how do we decide? Like, I can't just make 3 lines and say that, okay, this is my platinum and this is my gold. No? It doesn't make sense because a lot of these are negative profit. A lot of them are incurring a loss for the business. Like, if you look at this one, look at this. This customer is 25,000 in sales, but there is no point because I still incurred a loss. It took me more money to service the customer than what I earned from him, which basically means that even though the sales is so high, this is meaningless for me because this customer is not a good customer for me, correct? To do this, we click on these 3 dots and we say automatically find clusters. The beauty of Power BI is that it takes away all the coding from you. It says you don't have to do anything. You just say automatically find clusters. You tell me how many clusters you want. So let's say I want 3 clusters. It will automatically use k-means and tell you these are your 3 clusters. Simple. Right, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now you can have a lot of personal opinion as to why is this one in cluster 3 and not in cluster 2. I will not get into those details. That's where you have to modify the code and you use something like Python. Right? So I hope this also answers the question that somebody asked me in the morning, that when you go to competitions, you see people use Python, and can we do the same thing in Power BI? You can do the same thing in Power BI, but you have very little flexibility. I can't do anything else. I can just tell it 3, it will show me 3. I tell it 5, it shows me 5. I can't choose to manipulate the model or make tweaks or make changes to it. That is where something like Python will help you a lot, right? Just since we're on this topic, how do you search for these things? You just say, in fact, this is how you should search. You should type 2 words, data science, and then you should type k-means Python. That's it. 2 words, data science, k-means Python. There is an article here. Let me open it. By the way, there are many articles. And in this article, very nicely, they have explained that this is a unsupervised ML technique. You are classifying data, and then real world applications are, like I said, customer profiling, market segmentation. These 3 are not related to us. How does it work? It basically finds the 2 points, which are centroids, that are closest to all the different scatter points. Okay, like this is your linear regression, basically line of best fit is very similar to that. Anyway, this you can read later. And if we scroll down, you notice they have written the code as well. So not a lot. You just have a few lines of code, and it automatically finds the clusters. That's it. This is the best way to identify a topic and then start to read. And don't read only one article. Read other articles also, because everybody will have a different example, a different style of teaching, right? Like here you notice that they're showing in a 3-dimensional plot, right? Which maybe makes it more confusing or maybe makes it easier. I think it makes it easier because sometimes data might be on 3 dimensions, right? So it maybe makes it easier as well. That's the idea. But don't expect that Sir, can you just share the best article and we'll read that? It doesn't work like that. You have to read 10, 15, 20 articles for each small topic to understand it very well. Great. What else?
Sir, you were saying something about the centroid part. I just,
okay.
Can you relate to this, please?
See, basically, there is the, you can't see the centroid. So maybe the centroid was here, and it said that all these points are next to this centroid, right? So there is another centroid that is coming here, and all of these points are next to this centroid. That's what it is doing. Okay. So for example, when we do linear regression, what do we say? In linear regression, don't we say that we find a line of best fit? Just a moment. So session 4. 1 second. I'll take the same data that we had and just put it on a new sheet, and I will create a chart, right, with my scatter chart like this. And let me also change this to 80 so that it looks perfect. Great. Now, if I want to make a linear trend line, I will go to add chart, trend line, and then I put a linear trend line, right? And then I'll also select the line and put the equation here, right? So I'll say that I want an equation and an intercept. So what is happening right now? It is telling me that this line, everybody, which I'll just highlight for you, this line is not coming on top of each of the dots, but it is closest to each of the dots, correct? That's what the line of best fit means, no? We're trying to draw a line of best fit, which will be as close. So we're trying to minimize the gap between the line and the different dots that we have. That is how regression works, isn't it? What we do, but this is just a straight line. It's a perpendicular line that we are drawing. The difference when we do in k-means is that it can go in any direction. That's the difference. Okay? Here we don't look at the difference like this. That doesn't make sense. No? We look at the difference perpendicular from this line. Does that make sense? You guys must have studied these things, no, in college?
Yes, so the standard error thing.
You have, right? So these things you have done. So I mean, you can definitely relate to what I'm telling you, right? So don't think that these are separate topics. Everything is related. Machine learning is nothing. Machine learning is statistics. Try to understand that. What you do in linear regression is the first thing you study in machine learning. In machine learning, you start with linear regression, you go to logistic regression, then you have things like support vector machine, gradient boosting, and all. But the idea is linear regression is machine learning in a way. We are using our trained data, isn't it? We're using our training data, which is the historical data, to predict future values. Machine learning is exactly that. You're using your training data to predict future values, isn't it? So linear regression, so don't look at, you should look at linear regression with a lot of pride. A lot of people say linear regression is nothing. We studied in school. So what? Linear regression is machine learning at the end of the day, right? Great. What else?
Sir, can we not create a Q&A card and then define any variable, for example, appropriate customers or most, for example, any word, and then we define the variables and
Yeah,
then
so
the
that's a very new feature. It is still in preview, but since you mentioned, I'll show it to you. I'll not do it here. I'll do it on a new page. Okay. So if I click on Q&A and I say here, my best customer name, right? Now you notice that best is underlined. Let me also write by sales. You notice the best here becomes underlined. Why is it underlined? Because I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, what does best mean? It doesn't mean anything. So what we can do is I can click on best.
The top 10 customers by sales, can we do that?
No, I agree. If you say top 10, I agree that that is how you say that this is the best customer. Maybe best means somebody who's more than 25. Is it not possible? The definition of best in a company is not the top 10. It is anybody who's more than 25,000. So what I do here is I click on best and I say that since Power BI does not know what it means, we have to define what best means. So I click on define and then I will say, what does the word best means? Dim names. That means any customer whose sales are greater than 25,000. And who are those customers whose sales are greater than 25,000? If you notice, there's only one customer, which doesn't look good. So let me make it 20,000. Let's see if we have a few more. Make sense? So remember, this feature is still in preview. So it's still not finalized. That's why I don't cover it, because they're still figuring out the like this interface keeps on changing regularly. It's still early to learn it. Don't learn it now because they have not finalized it. But at least now you know how detailed Power BI is. If I click on save, this is fantastic, right? Like now, when I close it, it will tell me customers who have a sales of greater than 10,000. Right? And like this, you can define your own terminologies for an organization. Like a company can say, who are my consistent customers? Like you said, what are the appropriate transactions? So maybe appropriate transactions are where the profit margin was greater than 20%, something like that. Right?
Sir, can we use top 10 percentile or 25 percentile here?
Yeah, very good questions. I do not think that you have percentiles that work. You can only see when you define the term as of now, you will only be able to say greater than less than a certain number, but I don't think you will have that. Let me just see. So percentile will definitely not work. This will not work. You can only say greater than 10,000, or you can say, yeah, basically this is what you do. You just say less than equal to, something like that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
From what I know, but I still quickly check. So right now, what we can do is we can say global sales, nouns and adjectives. Just a moment. See, like this. You can say countries, USA, product is 100, greater than 100, less than 100. That's about it. Nothing more than that at the moment. But we expect that they might add more features. And like you can see, all of this is very new, right? Like it was introduced only 1 year back, less than a year back, but it is still in preview features. So they have still not finalized it. But yeah, I mean, it's quite powerful, right? When you think about it, because like in the near future, it will become really, really helpful for companies. All right. Now tell me, from a business sense, which cluster is the most profitable for the business? Quickly, 1, 2, or 3.
3.
How do you know? How can you say with so much confidence that 3 is the most profitable?
It's
Why don't I make a chart, okay, in which I'll keep my customer clusters and my profit value. And now you notice that cluster 2, interestingly, is the most profitable for the business. You know, this is the mistake companies make, because when you look at a cluster, we always think, oh, these customers are very important. But the truth is that while they might be important, there are not so many of them, right? Also, there is one customer who brought the entire profitability down because he was incurring a loss. Cluster 2 has the highest profitability for the business, which is very clear here. No? See, cluster 2 is 1.4, cluster 1 is only 79,000. That is how you derive intelligence from the data that you have. Okay, does it make sense now? Now this becomes a complete example, doesn't it? Now, what if I say that I only want to see the transactions which are profitable, not the ones which are not profitable. So I will make a slicer with my profit value, right? And I will say that let's only look at transactions that are greater than 0, like this. Makes sense, right? So now we are only looking at our profitable customers. Among our profitable customers, I can also see cluster 1, 2, and 3, right? Like this. You have to keep other things in mind because you have already created the clusters before doing it. So usually it's not considered a good practice to create the clusters and then apply a slicer. Usually we apply the slicer and then we create a cluster. Okay? But that you will understand the more you work with it. Okay? Also remember, there will be overlaps, so don't worry about that. A lot of people say, how can people be exactly on 2 clusters, but some bit of overlap might also be possible. Okay, this one I'm going to remove because it's going to complicate things. Let's look at this. And what else? Yeah, if you want to filter only one cluster, you can make a slicer for that cluster. And now you can only look at one cluster like this. Can somebody tell me how this got created, this field called name clusters? This is not coming from the data, right? So how did this get created?
Like so
Any guesses?
automatically created by
Automatically.
when we
Absolutely. 100%. So the moment we click on the three dots and we say automatically find clusters, the clusters are created in the chart, but it is also creating a new field in the table so that you can use it in other places. Right?
can we make this spread chart to the normal, like removing the clustered?
Removing the clusters.
Yes, like we added the cluster.
Yeah. Just
and now
you
we are
have the legend as the clusters, just remove the legend. It will become a normal character.
got it.
And the clusters can now be used in other things also. For example, remember we created this sales by year. What if I want to see what is the contribution each year by these three clusters, silver, gold, and platinum? I can put the name cluster in legend and it tells me which cluster is contributing what amount every year. So you notice that in the first year, cluster 3 was contributing 27,000, but in the most recent year, it is only contributing 12,000. It's so helpful for a business, isn't it? Because now you're saying that this set of customers that I have, that means how many customers do we have here in cluster 3? We have about, let's say, 15 of them, right? So these 15 customers in the first year contributed 27,000, then they dropped to 9, increased to 24, but then again dropped to 12. So there is a pattern that you see here. It fell, increased, and then fell once again. But if you look at cluster 1, 63, 70, 87, 123, which is fantastic. So it's growing very steadily, right? That's how you derive insights from the data. Right? Good. Any questions, anyone? I just received an email which I would like to share with you because this might help you. One second. But I'm not sure where I got it. I have a couple of emails, so I'll have to check. One second.
Sir, I have done the changes in page 3, but it is not reflecting on the page 1. Can you please tell me
I'll
what?
answer that. Let me answer that. I'll answer that. That doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm sorry. Please tell me.
Sir, just like as you did, I did the changes in page 3. I mean, like cluster 2, I want to
Can you
share.
share your screen?
Okay, sir. Sir, here as I have chosen.
Wait. I can't see it now. Yeah, I can.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me.
So just as you did that, you have chosen cluster 2 here. Then,
Okay.
but you were able to see the changes in the page 1 too.
No. I was not able to see the changes. Select the visual here on page 1. Click on
Okay.
it. Now select the cluster and put it in legend.
Okay,
On
sir.
the right side, select the cluster and put it in legend. I did that. You'll have to do it manually.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Yeah, let me just think of what else I want to cover for you. Okay. So we will do calculations next time in detail, but I want to start with calculations so that at least the tone is set, right? And I'm also going to recommend a course to you, which I want you to watch because you have a week's gap, right? I'm not sure if you have, what do you have right now? Do you have classes, exams? Like what is going on in college right now?
Regular classes.
Regular classes, right? So you will be able to take out some time, right? So I will tell you which course to watch. But let's at least start with DAX, right? So let's just see what it is. So we have done Power Query so far, which we all know is a data cleaning, data preparation tool. And now we also have something called DAX. Now, let's not get into the details of what is it and all. Let's see why we even need it, right? Please create a new visual, everyone, like this. What I've done, exactly make the same one. Order date, sales, and quarter. Let me know if you have any trouble making this. And now that you're learning all these things, it's the same thing in Tableau. Tableau also has the same cluster. Tableau also has the same drill down, the same visuals. So Tableau learning, you will see, we'll be able to do so fast because we are spending so much time on Power BI. Right. So just make this, everyone, and also put the number here. So we have the data label. So I can see 74, 87, 144, 180, 69, like this. All good? All right. Now my question is, what is the change from Q1 to Q2? Anyone? What is the change from Q1 to Q2?
13,000.
3,000. Okay. Sorry, not 3,000. It's about 12,000, right? 74 to 86.
13.
Correct. What is it? What is the change as a percentage? You'll have to calculate it, isn't it? That's the point. Tooltips are fantastic because I can show profit, customer name, blah, blah. But the point is, I want to see some more analysis. I just don't want to present my data. I also want to derive YOY, MOM, growth, decrease, degrowth, like that. For questions like this is where you need calculations, right? Which is called DAX, data analysis expressions. Just like we're writing formulas on Excel, how do you write formulas on Power BI? You can't use Excel formulas, right? You have to use DAX formulas, right? Okay.
So just a question.
Tell me.
So like if we are calculating the percentage change or the percentage or how much sales have increased, can't we do it through waterfall chart?
See, you can do it through the waterfall chart, but then you're limited to the waterfall. No? What if you want to present the QOQ change as a different visual? So just so that everybody else sees this, there is a visual called the waterfall. Right? It's very simple. On the waterfall, I can say, I'm going to put my, one second, my quarter. So yeah, so I select my quarter and I'll put it in the category. Year will be in the breakdown and sales will be in the values. As you can see, I can see what is the change, right? So I can see from Q1 to Q2. Yeah, so from Q1 to Q2 in 2015, there was a change of 46%. From Q1 to Q2 in 2014, there was a change of 29%. This is what we wanted, isn't it? Like, what was the first question I asked you? In 2013, what is the change Q1 to Q2? So I can see here, in 2013, the change Q1 to Q2 is 16%, 74,000 to 86. So very good observation. Absolutely, you can make a waterfall. But the problem is that I'm stuck. Then I have to present my data as a waterfall. What if I want to see this as a table? What if I want to see this as a different type of chart? Right? So that's why we need to write these calculations ourselves so that we have full control over it. Because this is an automatic calculation, which is great. It saves us a lot of time. But I'm also stuck because I can't do anything else with this. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right? So if you're in a hurry, if you just want to get the number and you don't want to spend 30 minutes on it, absolutely do it. But the moment you say you want the number and you want to reuse the number in different places, then I need to have this number calculated manually because right now I have not calculated it, which means I can't use it anywhere else. Right? Okay, so I'll let it be here. And let's go to page number 4. In fact, I'm also going to write this. So this is my model. Then this is my QA. Then we have our scatter. Then I have my MOM DAX, right? Because we're going to write a DAX expression. This is our waterfall. Perfect. Please also save the file. Now, for today, we are going to do this quickly to see how the calculations work. We will explore it further in the next session. Right? In the next session, we'll also do some Python and R visualization. So how do we do this? Very simple. Please click on quick measure. This one. Quick measure. Now there are inbuilt calculations that we have. There are a number of them. There are about 20 calculations. Which one do we want? We want time intelligence, which is quarter over quarter change. quick measures, calculation, and then quarter over quarter change, right? What is the base value and what is the date? What should be the base value, everyone?
Q1 2013.
Yes,
No,
year.
no, 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 no.
Start
The
year.
value for which you want to calculate the change. For what value do we want to calculate the change?
The previous year, sir.
No. What is the value? What is the thing for which we want to calculate the change? Profit, quantity, what? Sales, right? Sales, right? So the base value is nothing but my sales. Okay. What should be the date? Obviously, the order date.
Order date.
This number of period, you will remain at a default, which is 1. 1 actually means it is comparing to the previous month, right? So that's all we have done. We have selected quick measure, QOQ change, sum of sales, order date, number of period. Press OK. And what will happen is it will automatically create a formula for you, which looks like this. Now, I know it looks quite large and quite complicated, but next time I'll be explaining you how to write the entire thing and how it works and what is it, right? But for now, we're not concerned with what the formula is. We just want to make sure, is it working or not, correct? So I would like you to take this sales QOQ percentage, everyone, and put it in. Tell me, where should we put it?
In tooltip, sir.
Tooltips. So when I put it in tooltip, this is fantastic because now it tells you Q1 obviously will not have the change because it's the first quarter, 74, 86, and 16.24%. Can you imagine how much more difficult it would have been if you had done this on Excel? It's not impossible. It's really pointless because you have to write formulas and drag it down. And then if you make a chart and a pivot, then it gets more difficult. How do you put it in the same chart? A lot of things will not even be possible. Here, it's so simple. In under 1 minute, we have managed to find the QOQ change. And that is the power of DAX. And that is the need of DAX. People say, why do I need DAX? So far, we have not used it. I have been able to make dashboards, absolutely. But the moment you say that you want to do calculations and not just present the data as it is, then you have to use DAX. Any questions, anyone? In fact, you can also do one thing, change this to a line and column chart, this one. Line and column chart, so that now I can see the QOQ percentage in the line value and the sales in the column value like this. I think this is a better way of looking at the data because you can see the change and the actual sales value like this. This one, line and column.
So how to save the measure, like quick measure?
It is already saved. The moment the quick measure is created, it automatically comes on the field list like this. Like the moment I click on quick measure, I select QOQ, I will select sales, I will select my date. The moment you click on OK, it will automatically create a measure here.
But
right?
the option is not appearing on my quick measure.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Is it visible, sir?
Oh, yeah. So this is a problem which is with Power BI with the rendering of the application. So because of the resolution of your laptop, the problem is that you cannot select that OK button. I mean, you have done it. You understand my point, no?
Yes, sir.
You can't see that OK button because it is hidden for you. This is a known problem. A lot of people have this issue. Unfortunately, I don't have a solution for you because there's not anything you can do other than writing the formula. I know it seems very odd and very stupid that why can't I click on the OK button? This is a problem with the resolution of your computer. Can't
I
do
think
it.
if he clicks the tab button, maybe he
Yeah,
can.
I don't think the tab works here as well. I think we had tried that. Let me just see once. I'm not sure if that works. I've had this problem with a number of different trainings, and then there's some issue that comes here. 1 second. I'm just trying it on mine.
Okay, sir.
What is happening? Suddenly my system has stopped working. Wait. I can't seem to click on the quick measure. That's strange. Let me reopen my file. Hold on. Give me 60 seconds. So Power BI, and then we have model. All right. All right. So I click on quick measure, and yeah. Yeah, the tab will work. I'll tell you what to do. 1 second. Just be on your screen, okay? I'll tell you what to do. So you will have to press, but how do you know which level you are at currently? Okay. Click on this max per category that you see, please. Please share your screen once again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, open quick measure once again. Select the calculation. QOQ change, perfect. Base value is sales. Order date, yeah. Now listen. Click on that quarter over quarter change drop down. Just click on it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just click on it once again. No. That's okay. That's okay. Press Shift Tab 2 times. Shift Tab 2 times, and press Enter. Yep, must be created. Just scroll down. I don't think it's there. Maybe you canceled it. So maybe you have to press Shift Tab. 1 second. Yeah, it should be 2 times only. Are you sure you pressed it 2 times or only once?
Yes, sir. Shift tab 2 times and then enter.
Yeah, you get the idea, no? Basically,
Yes,
one
sir.
time it will go to the cancel button, one more time it will go to the OK. I know this is very irritating, but then I don't know what to say because this is a problem with the resolution. Can't help it. Shift tab, press OK. Yeah, it is
Got
okay.
it, sir.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so everybody, this is the beginning of DAX, and we're going to focus on this next time. The first thing I'm going to cover is the creation of this formula, because you have to learn how this works, right? Like, what is the logic here? I will not get into it now because it's quite detailed. As you can see, there are variable declarations, calculate, date add, return, right? So I'll discuss it next time. It's not difficult to learn, but it's very difficult to master. DAX is one of those things which is a very wide tool. So to begin with, it's very simple. In a few clicks, you can create it. But if you want to master it, then you're like, people have been working on it for many, many years now, right? So just remember, this is not something you can learn in like a month or so. Great. So today we have done the appending of the files from the folder, which can be text files, Excel files, CSV, PDFs. We also saw how adding a new file updates it. We created a model, one-to-many relationship. In Power Query, we saw how the steps are saved and how the formula bar is there and how we can essentially do transformations on the data. Right? Then we created the model as well. And of course, we created Q&A and a few other visuals. We did the scatter chart with the clusters in it, which obviously does not give us any control, but it creates some basic clusters, k-means. And finally, we did a DAX measure, which we will be continuing next time. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Sir?
So,
So when you generally present a presentation, so how do you work it out? Like, do you switch between Power BI and PPT and present the data, or what?
No. So usually what we do is we give the entire presentation on Power BI itself. Let me show you. You guys will not be able to do it because you can't publish your report. Remember, you don't have that corporate account, right? So let me just open it once. Hold on.
So in our case, we have to like switch from tabs to tab.
I'm telling you it. See, what happens is I have this model March 27th, correct? Once I have signed in, which I'll do just now. So havishan.hmat.microsoft.com. Give me a moment. Wait, let it sign in. It sometimes takes a minute or so. Okay, so you click on as in we click on publish to publish the report on Power BI service. I will save it in my trainings folder. There are 4 folders that I've created. Select. Just like you upload a file to OneDrive or to Google Drive, this entire report, PBIX, is getting uploaded to Power BI service. And when I open it in app.powerbi.com, you will notice that I can see the entire report here. It is also dynamic like it was on Power BI desktop. And here I have a button for full screen, like PowerPoint. So this becomes like a PowerPoint slide. Right, everyone? That's how we usually do it. We don't have a PowerPoint and a Power BI file. The Power BI file acts like the PowerPoint for us as well.
So after adding it on the server, what did you do? The steps?
Nothing. Once I added it, I just click on full screen.
Okay.
That's all. Like I have these different reports that I've created. Like these are different client projects that I have.
I mean, we have to pay for it. We have to buy that.
No, this is like I do have a paid account, but this will work even with the free account. But you will need to have a corporate account to create an account on Power BI. Okay, let me explain. What I've shown you just now, which is how you can click on publish and take it to the website. You can do everything with a free account, but the account cannot be a Gmail account. It has to be a corporate account. That's the only catch. Right? So, I mean, I can't help you with that. Like I said last time, you will have to get somebody's help to get you an account like this.
Okay,
but that's okay. I mean, it's the process is not difficult. It's just 2 clicks. I click on publish. In fact, there's 1 click. I click on publish. That's it. It goes to the website, and from the website, I can go full screen. That's all. Like this is a BPCL project that we have worked on. So this is the presentation that we have created.
Corporate account has been given by the corporates that then only they can access, or any organization corporate account. I mean, any company can provide you that, and you can use it.
So yeah, so if it's Mayank, it would be Mayank at somecompany.com. That's all. Like mine is at havishamconsulting.com. So that's all you do. It has to be a okay, let me explain. So Power BI Gmail account.
Can we use the college's email, like .edu one?
If you have one, you can use it. That's what I told you last time also.
We have, sir, and we have, I mean, we are using it that only.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, then that works. Not a problem. So anyway, I don't know where this is, but yeah, it must be written somewhere that you can't use a. So look at this. It uses a work or a school email address. You cannot sign up using email addresses provided by consumer email services like Outlook, Hotmail, Gmail, and so on. Okay. But I'm curious, what are the alternate ways to sign in? Actually, we can sign in for a 365 trial. This I did not know. Anyway, not important. Great. What else?
Yes, sir. I mean, I can see the publish button in my tab because I have logged in from college email only. I just
excellent. Excellent.
I can do this.
Great. So that question has also been answered now. How to publish it? Even though I'll cover it at the end of the training of how this works. Right? So the agenda for 3rd week is that. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you which course I want you to do. I want you to work on this one. It's not the most exciting course, but it's a little technical, but it's important, right? If you want to become an advanced, a good user, right? The course is this one. Where is it? I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, this one. DAX Essentials. DAX Essentials, data modeling for business intelligence. Some examples are I've covered on Excel, some I've covered on Power BI. You can use either of the tools, and this is the one that you will have to work on.
Okay, sir.
Great.
And any materials you would like to give us?
is there, no? In the course, all the files would already be given to you.
Okay, sir.
If at all you need something else, you can let me know and I'll send it to you.
Sir.
Sure, sir.
Right. Great. Any questions? So good. This is the homework for you. You have to do the DAX course and obviously practice what we have done so far, so that if you have any questions, you can ask me. Do not worry about other things in Power BI because we will be covering that. So the agenda for the next session is that we will continue with DAX. I will show you R and Python visualizations, and we will start with Tableau. We'll obviously not complete it. We will start with Tableau. We will continue with Tableau in the next session, the 5th session as well. And then in the last session, we have 2 hours with us. So we can maybe keep 1 hour for PowerPoint, and the last 1 hour we can keep for any discussions, any question. Like somebody asked me today, can you show us how to solve a case study? Today, of course, we don't have the time, but maybe in the last session, we can keep some time. In fact, it makes more sense because by then you would have learned all the different things. So we can combine all our knowledge to be able to put it together. Great. Anything else?
Okay, sir.
Well, good. All right then. Thank you so much for joining me on week 1. If
Sir,
any questions you have, reach out to me. Send me an email or contact me on LinkedIn, right? Anytime.
okay, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, everyone. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.